Welcome to Totally Based. I'm Joey Gaskin, and today I'd like to look at a video from Steven Crowder. Steven likes to do these man-on-the-street videos where he'll walk around and ask people questions and just get their perspective on things. And today, the video that we're going to look at, he's walking around and asking black people their perspective on racial issues. So let's jump into it.
How would you sort of characterize race relations in the United States today between like white and black people?
Between white and blacks, again, depending on where you are society-wise, a lot of times, oftentimes, if your zip code determines your interaction.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if you're from my neck of the woods, it's all.
Where are you from?
I'm actually from here, from Dallas. So,
okay.
But the zip codes in Dallas dictate or determine
right.
how often you interact with someone. So, for my profession, I'll say it for this way: if I'm on a certain side of town,
yeah,
and I'm supposed to protect and serve,
right,
but yet the same, if you see me as this.
Yeah.
You clutch your purse. Or just, big Dominican black guy with tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's afraid. On the other side of town, it's like, hey, bro, how you doing, man? Come on over.
Right.
So it all depends on where you're located and your exposure, pretty much.
So you think that in certain areas of town, you think that the white people, like you said, white women are afraid of you?
No, actually, not at all. Actually, no. It all. I think that I have to, as a person speaking for me, I have to be a bit more receiving. Hi, how are you?
Mm-hmm.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
And then, hey, what's up? How you doing?
Right.
That interaction, because I have to be more than.
And do you find that then the interaction is usually positive if you do
yes,
that?
Yeah, I do.
It's disarming.
It's some.
I think I can kind of agree with that. And that's not just saying that people are racist. It's just saying that you're in an environment that. You're in an environment where people don't typically interact with black people.
What disarming?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Why do you think some people might have that initial reaction if you don't interact that way?
Depending on whatever their experiences have been. For instance, if it's you see the villain on a TV show or on a movie, always. If it's the guy that's putting his mask down, carjacking. And if he looks
no. I gotta disagree. If I have to watch another Simply Safe commercial where it's a white guy who kicks in the door at 2 a.m., come on. I have never seen a commercial ever where a black dude is a criminal.
Well, they're smarter than that. They wouldn't do that. It'd be the end of the.
Okay. So we agree on that. They're always it's always like some guy who looks like Gary who's like there to like, I'm here to rob your home. I'm like, that's not what happens.
Yeah, but it's I think ideally if you put yourselves in an open environment, or if you're open to it.
Yeah.
If you go to a park and it's not Highland Park, or if it's not University Park, but if it's just a park, go interact with the kids. Oftentimes, I think that part of society is actually taught to us, and this is my own perspective. If you put a group of 5 and 6-year-olds around in the playground, they could care less what the color of your skin is, or where your zip code is, or how much your 401k is, or what you're talking. They could care less. They're just going to play. They're just going to show love. They're going to have fun. And I think that as adults, as we as society, if we can get to that place again to where it's like, hey man, I see a human. I see a person.
We have more in common than separates us, probably in a lot of ways.
Agreed.
But if you watch everything in the media, things are always categorized often by race, very often. Now, of course, sex and gender. And I've always found, again, like going to church here in Texas, like one I went to in Carrollton was very mixed. It was almost 50-50.
Absolutely.
Always had very good interactions. There was a disconnect from going, hold on a second, on TV they're making it seem like we're worlds apart. Those aren't my interactions on a daily basis.
Absolutely. And even with myself, he gave you the thumb up or something.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I don't know what he's doing.
All right, cool. But in a place such as that, you're supposed to be open, welcoming. In hospitals and churches, everybody's supposed to be open to it. You're welcome. Hey, come on in.
Yeah.
And I think that as society, we shouldn't get too far from that, in which we couldn't find a place of, hey man, I just want to reach you.
Yeah.
I want to know you. What is it about you?
Well, one thing I'll say, because you talk about sort of your interactions, that maybe some people might clutch their purse, right, or have these sort of preconceived notions.
Happen to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, if anything happened by law, I'd have to protect you.
And I think
I'm not the threat.
Well, and I think for sure there are some people who have those preconceived notions, right? And black people are probably sometimes, like you're saying, you have to go out of your way because you're concerned of them thinking maybe let's say you're violent.
Right.
On the flip side, you have white people often now, they're very afraid of interacting with black people because they're afraid of being accused of being racist. Mm-hmm. That's a fear that a lot of white people have now.
Okay.
That I think maybe sometimes black people don't. Well, we all have our kind of concerns because that white woman may have she may have been mugged. You know what I mean? She may have had a life, like you said, a life experience and wants to avoid it. And if we don't talk, it just gets worse. Right? We just separate more and more.
I've had in my experiences as well, and I also have a young lady that I was in a relationship. She's Caucasian. We have a beautiful triracial baby together, and her experiences and a lot of the things that I've exposed her to about my world before she would ever have known, because they don't teach that in school. They don't teach certain aspects of culture on that side of the world.
Yeah.
Kind of from being from Whitesboro or Pottsboro, they don't teach what I learned.
It has white in the name.
That's a town.
Yeah,
okay?
There's also a white settlement.
Yeah,
so I came from Canada. I'm like, how the hell do you name the town this? Like, how do you get away with it? I know. Oh, I get it.
I have nothing to do. That was years before.
No. I get it.
Just the exposure itself, and now it's more than it's more than, well, hey, I understand him. I'm receptive to him.
Right.
Okay, he's not bad. His family isn't bad. They're not bad. They're loving just like everyone else.
What do you think, kind of, especially here in Deep Elm, what would you say the results were afterwards of, since you're saying we don't want to just label people by race, but like, Black Lives Matter, and there's a lot of fallout from that. How would you classify that now? Would you say it was good for relations across the country?
I think the topic itself was specific for that. Not that anything, no one's lives matter. Everyone's lives matter. Yeah. In my opinion, even from my aspect, from my side looking in, I'll stand in the front of the line and I'm the other guy that they're saying, hey, F you guys.
Because you're a cop.
They're saying F you guys, but
I like how he is avoiding trying to say that he's a cop, but then Steven just says the quiet part out loud, basically.
Wait.
Right.
Hey, dude, my life don't matter. You're just mad at me because of the uniform. It's like working at any other place, the Whataburger or Walmart. It's my uniform. It's who I am, but it doesn't dictate.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what it was like here for you, but my dad over there, he was born and raised in Detroit, in the bad area of Detroit. Yeah, and the people who had it worse there, the worst were black cops in Detroit. They would have to go home in unmarked cars when the riots were happening, because a lot of them were seen as, they would say Uncle Toms, and they were threatened. They were targeted.
The story of Uncle Tom, but that's,
I know.
that's not even.
No, it's a good point. It's like using something. You're like, I don't think you know what you're saying.
You don't read a book. Read. It's not a.
That would be a good start.
But
that would be a good start. But black cops in Detroit, I don't know but it was really, really bad.
And I think that all lives matter in itself, but in particular on that time frame, that's what we were saying. Hey, listen, whoa, hold up.
Yeah.
Dude is reaching for his wallet. Let him get his wallet.
Right.
And that's saying from both sides of the fence for myself.
Right.
Hey, man, let him get his wallet.
So what you just said, and you just touched, I just had a guy was talking, he said the exact same thing that you just said, right? Everybody's lives matter, all lives matter. Now here's a question that I would have, and I know I don't have unlimited time, but that was something that a lot of people said. So white people say, look, I think all lives matter, and they were called racist or white supremacists if they said exactly what you just said.
That's ignorance.
But can you see how that makes white people afraid?
I don't even have a lot to say because he's saying everything that I agree with.
To even voice an opinion that's the same as yours. In other words, we share the opinion, but I'm telling you, just like you're saying a lot of.
But it wasn't about. It's basically okay. This is where we're standing.
Right.
Stand with me. I get it. I'm not saying yours doesn't, but we're all unified, saying, hey, these lives.
I think if Black Lives Matter had a different origin, if it had started as a meaningful organization that wasn't trying to tear down the nuclear family, that wasn't, a Marxist organization, if it was a pure organization about just saying, hey, like here's what we're trying to say as a race, maybe.
Lives matter. This specific person, this specific group, this specific people.
Yeah.
Their lives matter.
Sure.
So it wasn't necessarily, oh, you're racist because you're saying all lives matter. We're not talking about that other part right now. We're just talking about this part.
Yeah.
So,
but why? Why talk about just one part? If everything is, as he's been saying, like everything as far as race relationships have been okay, have been good, then why do we even need to talk about it? I don't even see the need to talk about it. We could just keep it pushing.
let's focus and fix and help here.
Yeah, but like you just said though, right? That's not what you just said, that all lives do matter, everyone's lives, and there are a lot of white people who come from poor areas too, right? Who have struggles, and they were saying, well, hey, we need to fix this. And if you think the system is rigged because it's racist. And by the way, I think the justice system has a lot of problems. I think that if you just see it as a white and black thing, you're going to miss a lot of the problems, right? And so saying, if we need to fix this system, we can't just approach it from a racial angle, that all lives matter, that justice matters, period, and it's not being done, then you can get to the solution. But I'm telling you that a lot of white people were scared, obviously, because crime obviously went up here, had to board up their businesses, and they were afraid to voice their opinion or reach out like now and just talk to people because they're afraid of being called a racist.
That's something that's internal with you. Because I never said, hey, not
you, but I'm saying that the media labeled everyone that way. Yeah.
People or black people as a culture, they never said, hey, don't come talk to me. You just automatically shut up and say, well, I can't get my opinion.
Point.
Why?
Yeah.
I didn't say you didn't have it. No, nobody told you couldn't. I want to hear you. I want to be
right.
I want to know what you're thinking, because if I don't know what's in your head, I can't hear out of your heart. You have Jesus is risen on your chest. The Bible says out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth is going to speak.
Right.
So whatever your mouth says, that was in your heart.
Right.
So let me know what's in your heart.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point. It's like you're saying, if they don't reach out, it's usually white people using it as a weapon, calling other white people racist, and then they shut down. Okay. And then this divide gets created.
Absolutely.
Let me ask something like this. Like, these are some hot button issues right now. All right. Let me ask you, right now, a big issue, for example, I think we probably share a lot in common here.
Okay.
Black and white people across the board. Trans men competing, biological men in women's sports. That's where do you line up on that?
I don't have an opinion.
You don't have an opinion?
I don't.
All right.
I genuinely don't have.
What does he mean he doesn't have an opinion? I think this guy has an opinion. I think he just don't want to say. Maybe because he's going to be on camera and his job. That's the only thing I could think. I don't have an opinion. Come on.
Okay. Let me ask you this. The idea of, voting, because you said you enforce the law. I don't want to, you have to keep it secret. People vote, right? Voter, just any kind of identification. I think that's something that's been turned into a racial issue, which doesn't seem like it should be.
I think it's more difficult for certain people to get it.
Yeah.
The opportunity, and even if you've already paid this is my take. If you've already paid your debt to society, you've already done what you've had to do. Why can't you at this point?
I think that's a little different though, because he's talking about, Stephen is talking about people using an ID to vote. I think what he's talking about is people who've been to prison and don't have the right to vote because they've been to jail. Okay. So I think those are two different things. Using an ID to vote is not racist. That is not racist. Black people can get an ID. It's not hard for them to get one. It's not any harder for a black person to get an ID than a white person. Okay. I think the whole thing is just stupid.
Can't you vote?
Yeah. Why can't you vote?
Well, just to make sure that you're the guy or girl voting.
Well, even still, who often says, "Hey, my name is John Jacob
Jingleheimer Schmidt."
Right.
His name is my name too.
Or I'm just, hey man, my name is Eric, and
dude was from Whitesboro, by the way.
Oh my gosh, tripping. Oh my god. No, but I don't know. I think that everybody should have a voice.
Yeah.
No matter who you are, what side of the fence you're on, in the middle, or far on the right, far on the left. What's your voice?
Yeah.
Speak your piece.
All right, man. And then, that's what we're trying to do. And I think it's a lot more productive than what you hear in the media.
Absolutely.
People sitting around. It's just
absolutely. It ain't so bad. It ain't so bad.
There you
Calm
go.
down.
You heard it from him.
Breathe. It ain't so bad.
All right.
We're gonna do it together. Everybody does it better together.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you taking the time, man. That was really productive.
All right,
God bless. Jordan? My brother's name is Jordan. I'm Steven. Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
How would you classify or characterize, where we are as a country right now, racially, between, black, white?
Not in a good spot.
Not in a good spot?
No.
No, you think it's worse?
Yeah.
So,
I don't agree with. I get what he's saying. I don't think anything's changed. I mean, my interactions with white people are the same way they've always been. Nothing has changed. I think the only thing that's changed is the media and the perception that there is an issue between black and white.
why would you say that? Worse than when, or why?
I mean, it's just, I don't know what the root cause of it is. It's just we're not in a good spot. It's just, I mean, you look at events, I mean, even most recently it happened this weekend. It's like, it just shows where it's kind of like going to race wars. It's just different times.
And this is kind of what you see that in the media, right? A lot. But, being a comedian, having spent a lot of time around black comics, or a lot of black people just disproportionately in comedy, and then I've gone to churches that are very mixed. My interactions on a personal level are very positive, lifelong relationships. But if you watch the media, you're going to hear about the race wars and the division. Do you think there's maybe that? Are your personal interactions with white people worse than ever?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like what? What kind of stuff do they do?
I mean, I have all kinds. You have all kinds of stuff. You have the people that think it's acceptable to touch your hair, like you're a dog. You have the people that
I gotta say, I don't know why white people feel the need to touch black people's hair, but hey, if you think about it, white people touch each other's hair too. So, but I think it's more of an intrigue. It's not like someone's trying to belittle you, but yeah, I get what he's saying.
I mean, it's all kinds of different things that just happen. Yeah. Where it's just like, okay, yeah, this is it. That's not.
Because wait, think about it. There's kids. Have you ever seen a kid like stare at you? I guess I'm asking black people. You know, if you've ever had someone stare at you, a child stare at you because they've never really seen black people, and so they're just like, I've had this happen to me on more than one occasion. It's intrigue, and if you don't know, then you're curious.
Not acceptable by no shape, form, or fashion, so I don't know why we're doing this.
It seems like a jump, though, from that to race war.
Well, I mean, it's like, I'm trying to think of some other things that have happened. I've been called names by people.
Yeah.
It's been all kinds of like random things.
Yeah.
I've been not welcomed inside of places before. It's all kinds of like, it just depends on like where you're at.
I think the last part underline that. It depends on where you're at. I've not had those things happen to me. I'm black. I think the experience is different for everyone, and I think that's just a individual thing.
Are you from Dallas here originally?
Yep.
What area specifically?
Mansfield.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to Mansfield. Where is that?
By Fort Worth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a nice area. So, what was it like being raised? Like, how would you classify your neighborhood? How would you sort of describe it?
I mean, Mansfield's a primarily, I think, white area.
Yeah.
Suburban America.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, was one of like the last school districts in the country to desegregate.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, it's, they have their problems. I didn't really deal with much there.
Right.
I think I really was exposed to stuff until I was an adult.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was mostly white suburban, so you'd think you'd be exposed to those people So you're saying when you were young, it was mostly decent?
Yeah.
Interactions?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you think about, bringing that up? This is a white guy's perspective. The segregation coming back in colleges and black-only spaces, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned to be desegregated. We're moving back toward that under different guise. Where do you line up on that? You think that's productive?
What do you mean?
To have black-only spaces either in high schools or colleges, right, to label those things. Seems to me, as an ignorant white guy, it's kind of like segregating again.
I can see that. I mean, I think everybody needs their safe space to where they can go be their authentic self, where they can, really like vibe with other people that are, like them. I'm not saying like it should be like, oh, white only or black only locations or spots or stuff, but like, I mean, if you see black people gather in certain places, like, okay.
No, I mean, those are policies. Like, those are actual policies, like at schools now, where they'll have black-only spaces, which doesn't seem like that's really...
What school was that?
Well, it started with Mizzou, right? And there have been a few others in school. We just had the affirmative action ruling, where they said no, okay, because Asians were sort of suffering at the hands of Harvard and Brown. Where do you line up on that? Do you think that it's... do you think that that's an issue that anyone who would say, you know what, I don't think that categorizing people, accepting them by race, even if you disagree with them, does that make that person a racist who thinks affirmative action is maybe not the best?
So if you don't agree with affirmative action, are you a racist?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say you're a racist, but I mean, you should probably look at history to see like, hey, why do we have affirmative action, and then what's the importance of it? Yeah. I mean, whenever you got to realize, like, I've been hired at jobs before because they told me I'm black.
See, that's where I disagree. I disagree with him. I don't believe that we should have affirmative action, and the reason I say that is because I don't want anything because I'm black, and I don't think anybody should get something because they're white. So don't give me something because I'm black. Give it to me because I earned it. Give it to me because I worked hard. I don't see. I see how people are trying to say, well, we should balance things out. I don't need anybody to equalize anything for me. I will work hard. I will do what I need to do and earn my spot based on me, based on my merit. Not on my skin color. I think that's kind of whack.
Right.
That's not acceptable. Right. So it's like, it's used in...
That's affirmative action.
Sometimes used in good ways, sometimes used in bad ways. Moments like that, it's like, okay, cool, I'd rather you look at like my qualifications, see like, hey, what is it that I do?
Right.
And see like, okay, great, you're the best candidate for this, versus like, okay, cool, you got it because you're black.
Okay.
So I mean, it just depends overall.
So it sounds like you're saying that maybe affirmative action, not a great thing if someone's just hiring you because of your race.
I think
that's all it does. There is nothing else about it. It's hiring people based on their race, right? And honestly, that's got to be a terrible feeling if you're like, well, I feel like I've accomplished a lot. I'd rather you look at my accomplishments than just say I'm hiring you because you're black. That seems racist to me.
Well, I mean, part of the thing is like, I don't know, no offense to you, but I don't know if white people understand this, but it's like, black people just get looked over all the time. Where it's like, it doesn't matter what our accomplishments are. If you look at me on a piece of paper and a white person on a piece of paper, it's going to be two different experiences.
Okay.
I've seen it firsthand in corporate America. I've seen it firsthand in universities as well.
So this is one thing that I think maybe can you maybe come to a place of it with white people here. Let's say I'm a white business owner, okay? You just voiced displeasure, and I understand, with someone not hiring you, looking at 2 resumes because they don't necessarily know, okay. But then you also said that it was kind of crappy that someone hired you because you're black. What's a white business owner to do?
I mean, here's the thing. It shouldn't have to be something that's a policy that's there. It should just be something that you're doing because it's the right thing to do. It shouldn't be like a thing.
Can I chime in? I think maybe what he's trying to communicate is keep an open eye to those kinds of things. So if you're hiring people and you look around and you notice your staff's entirely white, maybe you should diversify. Maybe you should look to see, hey, we don't really have a diverse perspective on our team. We have all white folks. And I've seen that before. I've applied to jobs and I've seen that the team was primarily white. Did that keep me from applying to that job? No, I still applied, still put my name out there. And if it's from me, it's from me. But I get where he's coming from on that angle. But again, I don't want it if you're just going to give it to me because I'm black. Give it to me because I'm the man. Give it to me because I earned it.
Of, okay, cool, I know I need to increase my diversity numbers, because that's normally what it is. I need to increase my diversity numbers, and then from there, then we're going to hire black people. So it's like, no, that's just the right thing to do. Marry your customers.
What is the right thing to do to hire based on race, or to hire based on qualifications?
The right thing to do is hire diversity, have a diverse workforce.
But what if they're not the best person?
Then, hey, you can find people. If like they say, if Beyonce can find 14 black trombonists, I'm sure you can find one black person to join your team. It's not that hard.
But somewhere there's likely a Japanese American trombonist who got screwed out of a job, was very good at it, just like Harvard and Brown, right? Who had higher SAT scores.
Which is fine. I mean, it's one of those things. It's just.
Are they racist?
No, I mean, it's one of those things where you know what you want. So it's like, okay, if you know what you want, then like.
But what if you don't want it? What if you just want the best trombonist?
Then do what you have to do.
Okay, so it sounds like we would find common ground and then hire the best person and do what you want, and it shouldn't be policy to force on someone, because that doesn't turn someone not racist. Like a Klansman's not going to hire black people because of affirmative action, no matter what, right? But maybe someone else might hire you just because you're black, and that's a crappy feeling, right, as opposed to your accomplishments.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I think that makes sense. I was trying to make sure that we understood where we line up. And safe spaces we were talking about, that could apply like black, white, gay, straight. I would assume that would also be kind of, as far as identity, intersect, all that. Those would be things that you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. No, I appreciate it. I'm glad we had this conversation, man.
Cool.
Jordan, I know you got to go. Boy, it's like I'm sweating like a stuck pig here.
No, it's all good.
So, no, I appreciate you taking the time.
All right, cool.
So I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, what do you guys think? I think for the most part, for me, like, I agreed with a lot of the points those guys were saying. There were some things that I was like, that's a little dodgy. I don't agree with affirmative action. I think a lot of the issues that, that still exist are just based on a lack of exposure to one another, lack of the types of conversations that we just saw, where we just get to talk about, hey, well, what is your experience with this? So there you have it, guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.